Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's time for the digital huddle. And as you know, we've been in a little mini series talking about a book that we've been going through with our staff over at GC, and one that I've been taking you through as the dream team. And like I said, we're not doing like week one is chapter one, week two is chapter two. We're just taking the time that we need to take to go through this book and some of the key information that's in it. The book is actually called this right here. It's The Power of Moments. Now, this book right here is not a Christian resource. What it is a resource really for businesses and really seeing and identifying how to create moments in someone's life, in the maybe the consumer's life that you are trying to reach, whatever that looks like, whether that is at your work or your family. In this case, I apply it a lot of times to our dream team at GC. But however you want to look at it, there are moments that we can create, and what you're probably finding is that over the period of this teaching is that it has to be intentional. It has to be intentional. There's no creating moments on accident. It's all done intentionally. And so today, what I want to talk about is the fact that if we are going to think in moments, last week we talked about how there's transitional moments. Today, I want to talk about these moments that are not always the most fun, but ones that are extremely important to identify if you're going to lead other people. Because there are peaks and then there are also pits, right? There's definitely some pits in life, but what if you could fill the pits? I mean, honestly, the pits need to be filled. I was thinking, when we were in Mississippi, it's kind of like potholes. There was a Chick-fil-A in Mississippi when we lived there that on the way to the Chick-fil-A, it was just this like little road that went in there that kind of like took you to the mall and all, but just like a small little road on the way to the Chick-fil-A, and there was these giant potholes on the way there. And I mean, it was like those big potholes, like where you could probably like lose your car in the pot. You know what I mean? Like where you just like drive and you're like, Grand Canyon, and the bad ones, the but ones that like blow your tires, and it's just bad. So it was bad potholes. But I remember whenever there was some change in leadership there over in Mississippi where we were living in that city, there was some change in leadership, and when that happened, they decided to fill some potholes. And this is actually somewhat recent. They filled the potholes, and everyone on social media that I followed that was from that area was just talking about how the potholes are filled. The pothole, this is so amazing, and it's interesting that something that should have been done right the first time, something that should have been done a long time ago. It was a pit, but it got all this recognition as a positive thing once the pothole was filled. And a lot of times this works exactly the same with life and creating powerful moments. And if you think in moments, here's the thing I want you to realize is that life is not going to be perfect. The things that you lead are not going to be perfect. There's going to be some mess. There's going to be some pits here and there. Some things that are just not pretty. Some things that don't work out the way we planned them to work out. Things that don't happen the way we intended for them to happen. And there's going to be times where we just kind of fail, right? That's a pit. But we don't have to leave it there because pits can be filled. What if you could take your pit and create a peak moment out of it for somebody? What if you could create a powerful moment for someone, even despite the fact that it all began with a mess up, a pit, something that failed, something that fell? No matter of fact, there was a study that the book talks about where it looked at restaurants, and it looked at airlines, and it looked at hotels, and all these different companies, and they brought them together and looked at their reviews. And what they found was that 25% of positive encounters cited by customers were actually because of an employee's response to a failure. 25% of the time that someone gave a good review saying like, hey, this is great, was not just the fact that it was great, it was actually in response to that an employee did from something that didn't go well. Like, the food came out cold and the waiter was so amazing about it, gave us a free appetizer, and went back and got us our food and gave us a discount, and they talk highly about these moments. It was a pit that all of a sudden became a peak, and that peak is what's going to drive your business, if you want to say in that sense. I think about this. There's a crepe place down the street from our house here in Port St. Lucie. It's amazing crepes. I mean, it's delicious. And we went there. Chris and I went there last Friday morning for breakfast and had a little morning Friday morning date, having some crepes. And I ordered a hot latte, and it was going to come out and be amazing. They brought me out this cold brew coffee, and I'm like, that's not what I wanted. I asked for this hot latte that's supposed to be really amazing, and this isn't what I want. So I told the guy, I'm like, hey, not trying to be a jerk here, but like this isn't I wanted a hot coffee. Like I don't really drink cold brew hardly ever. um and he's like, oh man, don't worry about it. I'm so sorry, that's my bad. You know what, you guys could just keep that one too. I'll make a whole nother one. You just relax. My bad. I'll take care of it for you. That response now makes me go like, man, like I want to come back here because their service is so great. Like they are just, I mean, like it's fine that they made a mistake because their service is incredible. Same reason for the shirt company that I work with so often. I've been working with the same shirt company for like 12 or 13 years now to order a lot of the shirts that we do at GC, and ordered a lot of shirts that I did at a previous church I was at. Why? Because every company is going to make mistakes here and there. And when they make their mistakes, they make it right, and they make it so easy for me. I go, hey, this didn't come out the way that we had intended for it to come out. Like, remember, I approved this and it looks like this. And every time it's, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Here, we knocked down the price and here's some free shipment. Like, they just make it amazing. They very rarely mess up, but when they do, they turn the pit into a peak, making me, as the consumer, want to go back again. So, my question for you is this: when we see a pit, are we able to look at it for what it is and say, all right, I can turn this into a peak? I want to challenge you as a dream teamer here at GC. There are different pits you may see. Maybe you walk into the bathroom and there's just like paper towels everywhere. Someone just like went crazy in there with washing their hands, and there's just trash everywhere in the bathroom. And if you walked in as a newer person, like the visual would be like, man, that's a pit. Like this place is trashed. But what if you said, hey, I know this isn't technically my serving position. I'm actually on the kids team, or the usher team, or the parking team, or whatever team it is, right? I'm actually on this other team. But you know what? I'm going to turn this pit into a peak, and I'm just going to take 30 seconds and clean it all up and make it look nice and presentable again, because I want someone else to come in and see a peak moment. Like, I could turn a pit into a peak for other people. It's possible. We can do that. And maybe we have some coffee that is made incorrectly. That's fine. Just give out a free coffee. Whatever it is, there's so many things that we could possibly do and say, this is something that didn't go exactly right, but we can make it amazing and above and beyond. We could create a peak out of the pit. I think just the other day we had a bad storm, right? And it was so many dream teamers coming together, helping mop floors and helping people run to their cars with umbrellas. And here's a pit, right? I mean, it's crazy raining and people are struggling to get in and out of the building for services. And our teams came together. They didn't worry about who was on what team. They just grabbed umbrellas and helped people run to their cars and help mop the floor so no one slipped, and help people get in and out as best as possible. We took a pit and you turn it into a peak moment. Now people will go home and be like, man, that team at GC, man, they just really cared for me. And that's what it's all about. You turning pit moments into peak moments, and that creates a powerful moment in their experience. So I want to end with this: is that, we're not going to have everything perfect. Not everything is going to be right on the money. But can we identify some of the pits, and can we work hard to change them and turn them into peaks? I think we can. We got an amazing team. I can't wait to see you again this Sunday. See ya.